like all great careers, there was no planned career path. Everything that really happened to me happened more by chance and by luck, I would say. So I started out, I got out of college with a marketing degree. I decided I wanted to get my MBA because I didn't want to become a secretary, which was about the only thing I could do with a marketing degree out of college. So I got a job working as, so I applied for the program at Northeastern because I wanted to get some work experience. It didn't start for 9 months, so I had 9 months to actually work until I started the program. I got a job as a receptionist at a venture fund. So I worked at this venture fund, and the man who ran the venture fund, who is a very famous venture capitalist, used to see me in the morning reading the Wall Street Journal, and he would say to me, you know, kind of like, you're my receptionist, why are you reading the Wall Street Journal? You know, and I'd say, because I'm going to someday be more than your receptionist, and he would sort of laugh, and, you know, I wasn't sure he actually believed that. So I did eventually leave, and right before I left, I told him that I was leaving to go get my MBA, which he was somewhat surprised by, but maybe a little bit pleased by. But there was a vice president there who had befriended me, who left to start his own venture fund. When I got out of school at Northeastern, I had my co-op there, and it was in the accounting compliance department, which was certainly not an area I planned on pursuing. I got out of school. I decided I wanted to find a job in banking because back in 1982, people generally wanted to work in the biggest organizations they could find. So I wanted like a big commercial bank, and so I interviewed at lots of banks. I had contacted this gentleman who ran this venture fund, who I went to see, and he said, you know, I don't have any place for you, sorry. But this other gentleman who had been the vice president there had started his own firm, and I went to see him, and he said, well, as a matter of fact, I could use someone, so he had me interview with his partners, and I ended up joining him. At the same time that, but I had also gotten an offer just around the same time he was about to hire me at a commercial bank, and I remember sort of weighing this in my head, you know, go to a big commercial bank or go to work for a venture fund as an assistant to a venture capitalist. Like, would that be really interesting to me? And he convinced me that I would have a lot more exposure and it would be a lot more interesting, and thank God I listened to him, because it turned out to really set up my career in private equity. But it certainly was not, you know, by design. I stayed there for 11 years. I became a partner after about 5 years there. He was certainly my mentor and someone who became a very important part of building my career. And then I left and started my own fund in 1994, and that is now 21 years ago. So, so it's been a fun ride. I think finance is a good area for women. I think that it is an area that is receptive to women, and a lot of the financial firms are trying to bring in more women, because I think that for a while it had not been such a great area for women. I think, though, my career advice wouldn't be so specific to finance as it would just be, people need to sort of kind of take control of their careers and be responsible for them. So within my firm, when I bring somebody in, because we're a relatively small firm and we're not management intensive, the best advice that I give the people that I hire is that they need to sort of take a look around and see what's going on within the firm, and kind of reach out and try and learn what they can, or extend themselves in as many ways as they can, so that they can kind of expose themselves to lots of different areas. So, for example, when we hire associates at my firm, what happens sometimes is, if someone is a really great associate, one of the partners will want them to work on all their deals, so they kind of get stuck with one partner. And sort of it's up to that associate in some ways to kind of offer themselves up to other deals. And so that one partner might have some specific deal expertise, could be in the energy area or something like that. And if they get stuck with that partner, they might end up doing only energy deals. So part of the beauty of small firms, I think, is because there's always more work than there really is people to do it. I think by, obviously, working hard and really putting yourself out there and trying to extend yourself. I think I'm very risk averse, although when I went to start my firm with my partner, looking back on it, I guess I wasn't as risk averse as I think I am, because I think that was a risky venture for me. And had I known what it was going to be like, I must have been crazy to do that. I mean, I don't feel as if, I do think women are generally risk averse. I do. Which isn't a bad thing. I think that we are, or I am, cautious. I do a lot more work to figure out sort of what the risks are. Doesn't mean that when we're making investments that we don't invest with risk. There's risk in everything that we do. It's just that I feel like we have to understand it that much better. I think that I wish I maybe in my life, I wish I maybe was a little bit more of a risk taker. I think in today's world, I think people are more willing to take risks. I mean, I've had 2 jobs. I was in, one for 11 years and one for 21 years. I think, people don't do that anymore. I think people are more willing to move around, and I think that's a good thing. And in your world, the portfolio that we manage right now is about 85% U.S., specifically because we're uncomfortable with the global risk, uncomfortable with the currencies right now. So we have offices in Asia, in Europe, in the U.S., and we have people in those offices that want to do deals, and it becomes sort of uncomfortable when, we have a European deal and we can't do it because there are too many risks. But, every deal that we look at has to be viewed the same way, right? We have a fund that we manage, and we're trying to get the same returns for our investors, and so every deal has to be measured the same way. Globally, the world is a very complex place right now, and I think we feel most comfortable with U.S. risk. It's risk that we at least can understand. I would say that when we look at the deals that we've done, where we've had the most, maybe where we've lost some capital, it would have been, small deals we've done in emerging markets in India, thinking that, there were great opportunities there, but not really understanding those markets as well as we should have, or buying a transaction in South America and having a currency issue. So I think, there's risks inherent in every investment that one makes, and I think, the key is to understanding them, and then one needs to just decide how much you can live with, right? If you're managing a portfolio, you have to take some amount of risk, and you can balance it. So we do some transactions where we think, well, this is a low risk transaction. We're willing to get a lower return on this, but maybe we'll do a higher risk transaction and shoot for a higher return here. So, it's a balance, and we have a partnership, and so we have people sitting around talking about it. It's not one person in a room making those decisions. So I think the best thing you can do when you're thinking about risks is talk to other people and have some smart people help you with that.